Well, hello, Philosopher Stoner 666 here. Um, yeah, I'm gonna make another video analyzing horror fiction, to wherein I get to nerd it up about a topic that is interesting to me, but probably not interesting to anybody else, and probably nobody gives a shit. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, gotta fight. Feel like I gotta fight somebody, and I got nobody to fight. Who am I gonna fight? Who gives a shit in this world? Who really cares? We only care about ourselves. Hmm. All right. Well, anyways, okay. So, what I want to do today is analyze horror fiction. So, what are some common themes in horror and what do they mean? What does the symbolism mean? The pictures, the audio, what philosophical concepts can we get out of horror fiction? Because I think it's an often ignored, trivialized kind of genre. Like I told in my other video, talking about like Tales from the Crypt and horror. Um, the one thing that cannot be completely concealed from human consciousness is the idea of death. But we prefer, as Ernest Becker talked about, we prefer to deny it, but it seeps out at us even though we don't want it to. We do our best, especially in the West, to try and conceal the problem of death, make it hygienic, make it something sterile. We don't want to deal with it. We pretend it doesn't exist, but that would be, we cannot live in that total falsehood because of the facts of reality, right? We know every day people are dying in terrorist attacks or this disease or that, or, the world, big picture. So it seeps out to us in the form of like horror fiction. So, okay, so an example, zombies, quite prevalent these days all over the world. That there's all these, all these zombie games, on my phone, tablet, on the TV, The Walking Dead, all these shows. We're hung up about the idea of death. So, what does a zombie represent? Zombie represents the false confrontation with death because we can never really deal with death until we're dead, but we know what happens to a corpse. So they express our fear. The zombie expresses our fear of death and the Christian idea of possibility of eternal life, just not in the way we would want eternal life. Okay, another one would be clowns, evil clowns. What do they represent? We have, in culture, we have Heath Ledger's Joker, Stephen King's It, plenty of other ones. They've appeared since the Middle Ages, right? When a king had a court jester in his court, and it would be the clown would be there to amuse the king, and they were often just a benign, harmless fool. They represent forces of the natural world and chaos that we cannot control because it is the nature of life. The nature of reality is oftentimes chaotic, out of our control, a matter of chance, a matter of luck to a degree. I mean, sure, because, we know skill and rationality and things like that help us to survive in the world. We have to reason with the world, but sometimes it is quite beyond the realm of our rational faculty to deal with. So yeah, that's what clowns represent. Okay, what's another one? Oh yeah, dolls. Dolls, creepy dolls. This one pops up quite a bit in a lot of stories. I read an article about it on Facebook. This island or something where this guy had all these doll puppets because there's the legend that some little girl drowned at this place. So what do dolls represent? Well, dolls represent innocence, purity, childhood, and then when we have a scary doll in a story like Chucky or whatever, it represents the inevitable loss of innocence that we all experience and that we have to come to terms with and deal with. And everybody's coming of age in that respect is different, but it's inevitable. And it's a regrettable thing to lose your innocence, not a good thing. Okay, what's another one? Oh yeah, puppets. Puppets on a string. Now, this one goes all the way back to the ancient Greeks. The ancient Greeks had the Fates, right? The three wise ladies that would cut the strings of people because when it was their time to die, we can do that with puppets, right? The puppets hang from a string, but more recently there's been quite a lot in the horror fiction community using puppets. Puppets can be a motif for seeing ourselves as puppets or like as biological puppets. The idea that we might not have free will, that there is someone else, some other thing, be it a god, supernatural power that is pulling the strings and not us, that we're not driving the bus, so to speak, in life. We think we're in control, but perhaps we're not. It's a force out of our control. We don't choose where we're born. We don't choose who our parents are, where we are in life. It's almost as if it's determined for us before, before we're born or something like that. It's that we don't have total control here is the central fucking point. And I was, okay, what's another one? Okay, old books. This one just crops up a lot in children's stories, but it's interesting. Dusty old books, tomes, deserted buildings. Well, this represents futility. And not with the books more specifically, not just the ruined, decayed surroundings, but the books represent forbidden knowledge or knowledge that causes grief. There's a quote in the Christian Bible, Ecclesiastics, the more knowledge, the more grief. And in our era, has never been truer. When you start to gain a realization of the big picture and all the things going on planet Earth and an understanding of cosmology and science and all of this stuff, you can have a lot of ethical quandaries, start asking a lot of difficult questions about life, about your own life, whatever. It's something you can look into. Many smart people, very, very depressed, scientists, doctors, very admirable people. I mean, you look at a guy like Howard Hughes, right? How smart, brilliant, genius he was, but fundamentally neurotic and fucked up. And when you read books, when you start reading on Nietzsche, Schopenhauer, whoever, when you start reading anything, the more you know about life, the less innocent you are. It's already discussed. I'm rambling now. I'm not making any coherent sense whatsoever, and I'm baked out of my goddamn mind. Anyways, analyzing horror fiction, to me, it's important because it's like the True Detective phenomenon. People need to be entertained to gain knowledge about reality. You have to make it palatable. You have to put honey on it and shit in order for people to eat it. Otherwise, if it's just a cold, for me to just sit here and nerd about it is not an attractive thing, right? Without all the packaging, Macbeth, we only listen to his nihilistic ramblings about life because it's wrapped in attractive packaging. It's a cool play. It's a dark, scary play, and it draws people in. People listen to it, and it also provides catharsis, and it's therapeutic to people. And we can never fully ever eliminate it. Like I said, the death seeps through the cracks. We can't totally shove it in the corner and pretend it doesn't exist. Although that is our preferred condition, that enables people's forgetfulness, enables them to have kids and do all sorts of stuff. So we have to shock people in an artistic way in order to get away with it, but deliver the message still. Watching my videos, I'm not very entertaining, am I? So attractive packaging is important. The genre of literary horror is important, and that's why Ligotti has been able to draw many people in, because he writes a good horror story. They're good, but he writes good books. Do I make good YouTube videos? I don't know, probably not. Whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm doing what I can do, but it can be quite overwhelming knowing what to do. To have so many choices and options and realize, oh, maybe I can't save the world and I am just another mediocre hunk of meat here. And I'm not going to be remembered. And that doesn't matter if I'm remembered, but I mean, like, save the world. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. So I'm tired of life all the time. So it's like, just get stoned and do some shrooms and die. And, you know, I remember my grandfather watching him. He's like 90 years old, and he would just randomly fall asleep for no reason. He'd just be like, I'm blah, 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 and then for like 2 minutes, and then fucking start talking again, and you just have to roll with it. And that's what I feel like. I feel like I'm this tired old man, but I'm only 27 years old. It's like, what happened to me? Fuck. Crazy fucking retard. I gotta come up with more provocative videos and maybe actually have a debate with somebody and push my boundaries a little bit more. But really, this is a self-indulgent exercise. It's my own cognitive therapy. I'm not going to pay somebody $20 an hour for them to tell me to Google it. I'd rather just talk to myself in a video because I don't have any friends or a fucking life. So this is what I do. So I don't go mad from the boredom, contemplating the darkness. Yup. Oh, fuck. 12 minutes. I better shut the fuck up.